So our story this morning is called Amrita's Tree. We've got some nice tree pictures here. So you guys like trees? Yeah, they're pretty special. All right, if you guys want to give me a little bit of space, everyone will be able to hear. Amrita leaned back against her favorite tree and rested. It was cool and green in the forest grove. Sometimes Amrita climbed her tree. Sometimes she talked to her tree, sharing her daydreams and her secrets. But today was so peaceful that she sat in silence. Caw! She heard an unearthly shriek, the shrill alarm call of a peacock, echoing through the forest. A shiver shot down Amrita's spine, and she scrambled to her feet. Amrita heard the tramp of heavy boots and the crack of branches snapping. Through the trees, she saw men marching, each one carrying axes. You guys want to sit down? Cut down every tree you can, she heard the chief woodcutter say. The Maharajas need plenty of wood. Amrita drew in her breath. They couldn't cut down the forest. Without these trees, there'd be no fruit to eat, no leaves to feed the cows, no shelter from the sun. Above her, watching over her, Amrita's own tree stirred in the breeze. I won't let them hurt you, she said out loud. I promise I'll protect you. I don't know how, but I will. She ran to the village and found her mother. Amma, I saw men in the forest, men with axes, and they are going to cut down the trees. Amrita's mother rushed around, calling the women away from their work. We must save the trees, she urged. Amrita's mother greeted the woodcutters politely, pressing her hands together and bowing her head. Namaste. We do not want trouble, but we cannot let you cut down these trees. The chief woodcutter cast his eyes over the women and snorted. You do not own these trees. We have orders from the Maharaja. Sir, these trees are our life. Their roots hold the soil together. They keep the land from sliding away during monsoon rains, and without them, our fields and homes will be washed away. Never mind your mud huts, the chief replied. With this timber, the Maharaja will have the finest palace in all of India. Please, we need these trees to survive. Enough, barked the chief. He turned to the woodcutters and ordered, cut down the trees. A burly woodcutter shouldered his axe and strolled over to an ancient kajari. And with a swift swoop, his iron blade bit deep into the bark. With a terrible groan, the mighty tree came crashing to the ground. Amrita and her mother stared in disbelief. The woodcutters began to chop at another tree and another. Soon the grove was a graveyard of trees. Broken limbs scattered the floor, and leaves dropped like tears. A woodcutter brushed past Amrita toward her own special tree. No, please don't, she cried. Please don't cut down my tree. Amrita blocked his path. Her voice shook as she spoke. I will not let anyone harm my tree. Amrita thought of her beloved tree lying dead on the forest floor, and she ran from the woodcutter toward her tree. She flung her arms around the tree, pressing herself against it. If you want to cut the tree, you will have to cut me first. The man and his axe were behind her, and she could hear the sound of her own breathing, hard and loud and fast. Amrita clenched her teeth and clung on to her old friend. She felt the strength of the tree coursing through her. And she knew with a fierce, bright certainty that she was doing the right thing. And although the chief shouted at the woodcutter to swing his axe, he could not. Amrita opened her eyes to see the woodcutter's head bowed, his axe at his feet. And all around her, people were hugging trees. Women and children, wives and daughters, grandmothers and toddlers, all hugged trees. Some ancient trees had trunks so broad that generations of women were joining hands to embrace them. The axes lay on the forest floor. The men huddled together and talked in low voices. Then, without a word, the laborers picked up their axes and walked out of the wood. Amrita's mother called to her. "What were you thinking of? I was so afraid." "So was I," said Amrita. "You know the woodcutters will tell the Maharaja what happened," her mother said gently. "They will come back, or the Maharaja himself will come." The next afternoon, the Maharaja arrived. The women joined hands and pulled their children close. But Amrita rose to greet the Maharaja with all the dignity of a forest queen. She was surprised to see that he carried not an axe, but a bright bundle. He climbed down from his horse. Amrita watched in wonder as he unwrapped the silken cloth. "I present this royal decree to you, Amrita," said the Maharaja, "and to the women of your village, in honor of your courage and your wisdom. I promise that from this day on, no tree in this forest will ever be cut down." And hundreds of years later, folk songs of the people who hugged the trees still echo through the villages of India. Amrita's courage has inspired people across the land to stand together to protect forests. And in one sacred grove, Amrita's tree still grows. And with that, our story ends. And if I'd like to have Isla, would you like to help carry the flame this morning? All right, Joey, can you make some space? Joey. No. Thank you. From generation to generation, we light this flame of religious freedom. And now we will follow Isla out to our religious exploration classes as we sing Go Now in Peace.